Greatness thrives in the spotlight. The path had twists and turns, but contenders emerged. Now the goal is in sight, with legacy on the line. This team knew it was never about the regular season.
Everybody in this huddle is ready for this moment. Go out there and try to lose.
Our next chapter lies here in the playoffs. The next legendary finish.
And the Chiefs have won in overtime.
The next magical moment.
McCole Hardman with the catch.
Everything's impossible until it isn't. The stages keep getting bigger, the lights brighter. But that's when we shine the brightest. And with the impossible to reach, all that's left to do is what's never been done.
This journey began just minutes after Super Bowl 58 as the Chiefs set their sights on something that had never been achieved before. Everything since that moment has been about getting back to this stage. And nearly a calendar year later, here we are. We are 2 hours from kickoff. You've waited all week for this very moment. It's finally here. It is time for football in Chiefs Kingdom. Let's do this. My name is Matt McMullen, joined by voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. This is Field Pass, presented by StorageMart. And Mitch, here we go. It's finally that time.
One of our family friends ran the 10,000 meters in college at the University of Nebraska. We would go watch him run.
Wow.
And we're like, how long is this going to take? It takes forever. And then it gets down to the final laps. And all of a sudden, it starts to build, right? They've been running for a half hour. And then you're thinking, now it goes. And now we're there. So all of that work and dead on. It was seconds after winning Super Bowl 58. And now we're here nearing the final laps of this, what could be an amazingly historic race.
Now, of course, the guy leading us on this journey is our quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. This is playoff start number 19 for Patrick. It's crazy. He's 15-3 through his first 18 career playoff starts. Those 15 wins are third most all time, behind only Tom Brady with 35 and Joe Montana with 16. So, if Patrick can win this game here today, he'll tie Joe Montana for the second most wins in the playoffs by a starting quarterback in NFL history. It's crazy.
And his quarterback rate, or his passer rating, is the best in NFL history in the playoffs. The fact that he's won and he's won in style, and in this round he's been impeccable. It's stupid. The fact that he's 6-0. If he wins today, it'll be the most wins in this round without a loss in NFL history. And the fact that he's had 16 touchdowns, 0 turnovers in this level of game. He's just amazing, and hopefully he's got it in him again.
I think he's also just 5 touchdown passes shy of the second most all-time in the playoffs. It's crazy. Hopefully he can get playoff win number 16 here today. It won't be easy, though, against the Texans defense. It's very good, and they take the football away. It's their bread and butter. Houston forced 29 turnovers this season, 5th most of any team in the NFL. And here's what's interesting. They scored 100 points off those takeaways. Yeah. That was 27% of their total points for the year as a team, highest rate in the NFL. My number one key for this game, protect the football.
It's an excellent point, because not only do the Texans get turnovers, they make you pay off those turnovers. We always talk about takeaway points. You can look at takeaways and giveaway takeaway margin, but then you look at what takeaway points are. And these guys are the masters of it. There's scoop and scores, sacked strips, 19 interceptions. They were second only to the Minnesota Vikings. An extremely athletic and aggressive secondary. They decimated the Chargers and Justin Herbert last week. So it's pass rush, it's sack and strip, but it's also a gambling, athletic secondary that takes chances. Now, you can make them pay. They're like I told you on Defending the Kingdom, they're like a pressing basketball team. They're either going to turn you over or you're going to get layups and dunks. And that's the way this team is, Houston.
Well, you mentioned the pass rush. Let's talk about that a little bit, because it's really good. These guys had 49 sacks on the year, 4th most in the NFL. And about half of that production came from only 2 players. Danielle Hunter with 12 sacks and Will Anderson Jr. with 11. It's one of the best tandems in the NFL.
And in talking with Coach Reed this week, though, he talks about the quickness and speed of their inside guys as well. Those guys are awesome. I mean, I think most pressures this year by Danielle Hunter of anybody in the league. And you look at it based on the last several years, there's really like only T.J. Watt and Garrett are ahead of him. But the fact that their inside guys will either occupy you or also destroy you. Tim Settle is one. Danico Autry is the most notable. So it's those guys for sure, but those guys on the inside are not slouch. Coach Reed said they are just super fast, big and fast.
Yeah, a lot of playmakers on that defensive front. What's interesting, though, is they only had 1 sack on Mahomes back in Week 16. We saw these guys just a month ago, which is funny.
Crazy.
I think our last home game was against these guys, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, and here we are, a little bit colder. But they only got 1 sack on us back in Week 16, and that wasn't Anderson or Hunter either. It was Christian Harris, a linebacker, on a blitz up the middle. And that was by design because the quick passing game was working for the Chiefs back in Week 16.
Yep.
So Patrick Mahomes got rid of the ball in just 2.48 seconds on average in that game, his 3rd quickest release of the season. I'm curious if we see more of that here today.
Yeah, and Houston will adjust to that. They're going to try to play, I think, more press man at the line of scrimmage, try to throw that timing off, and then change things up to try to confuse Pat on the short throws. But you also have a Chiefs team that is rested and ready and raring to go. So I think you're going to see a mixed in this game. And Pat will take his shots. He's got Xavier Worthy and he's got Hollywood Brown. They're both healthy and rested, and he's ready to open full throttle. But the ball's got to come out quickly most of the time, to your point, because this pass rush, and again, it's not just that they sack the quarterback. They look for sack strips. They look for scoop and scores, maybe more than any team in this league right now, other than the Ravens. They're in that same vein.
Well, what's interesting about the quick passing game, and if the Chiefs can do it here today, it's effective for 2 reasons. And the first is obvious. It takes Hunter and Anderson out of the game because they can't do a whole lot if the ball is out before they can get there. But also the Texans struggled in terms of allowing yards after the catch this year. And that goes with kind of your gambler mentality of this Texans defense you were talking about. And we saw that back in Week 16. What's interesting, again, is the Texans allowed the highest average yards after the catch of any team in the league this year, 6.5 yards on average. And we saw it in that game because Xavier Worthy had 59 yards after the catch against the Texans. Samaje Perine had 50 yards after the catch. Hollywood had 35 yards after the catch. And Kareem Hunt had 26 yards after the catch. For me, that's the formula. Get the ball out quick and into your playmakers' hands.
These guys have the most pick sixes of any team in the league in the playoffs, scanning back to 2011. So it's kind of their MO, but for sure under D'Amico Ryans. The other thing that gets your attention, they've allowed 31 touchdowns this year passing. Only 2 teams allowed more touchdown passes than this Houston Texans secondary. And you're thinking, wow, they're so athletic. Lassiter's incredibly athletic. Stingley gets picks. But they also give up big plays and touchdown passes. So it's risk or reward for them.
I want to ask you about Hollywood specifically because he made his Chiefs debut against these guys a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Kind of a limited snap count in that game, but he was still very effective. What are you expecting out of Hollywood here today?
A lot. And again, he can influence the game even if he's not touching the ball. And it helps Xavier Worthy. And it helps Travis Kelce. It helps everybody on this team, not only just taking the lid off, but his ability to route run. Here's the other thing, Matt. He's a baller. He's a football player, and he loves this game. And he, along with D-Hop and Kareem Hunt, have never won this game in their career. They've never won a divisional playoff game in their career. And so Hollywood Brown is on it. You could see it in the hallway this week, really over the last week and a half. His frame of mind and his awareness is way high.
Look who it is.
Yeah,
imagine he's
back.
We're going to wait for this introduction. You might as well come on in here soon.
But he has his clothes on, which is on. That's what's crazy.
If you're wondering.
Yeah.
Should we just bring Dustin on in? Well, before we bring Dustin in, we had a chance to hear from Chris Jones earlier this week. Chris Jones talked about this moment and seizing this opportunity. Take a listen. We'll have Dustin afterward.
This team shows a lot of resiliency. This team can win in a multitude of ways, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. And we've broadcasted that throughout the year. This team had a lot of close games. We have had a lot of injuries, faced a lot of adversity early on throughout the year. So this team has overcame a lot just to be here. So I think that just shows you the testament of how strong and how together this team is and how they can overcome a lot and has overcame a lot. So I appreciate the journey. You gotta be present within the moment. You gotta appreciate the journey, and also you gotta continue to challenge yourself. Yeah, we only have like a handful of guys on defense that haven't been in this moment. I think like 2 or 3 guys on defense that haven't had a Super Bowl or have been to the AFC Championship. And I think those guys get the importance of locking in and how important these games are right now. It's not like we can come back and we lose, we can come back and play again. You know, everything right now is hyped up, whether it's your own personal ability, your skill work. Everybody's putting extra work in and throughout the building. I think it's a fun time, man. It's a fun time. You got to appreciate this. It's not a lot of teams in. There's 8 teams left, and we're one of them. So.
All right, great stuff there from Chris Jones. We got Dustin a headset. We're joined by Dustin Colquitt. Dustin, what's going on?
How's it going? Hey, I'm glad to be here with you guys. You guys are representing the kingdom well. Look at this place.
Well, I want to ask you about that because you had some amazing moments and memories in this building. What's it like being back on this field? What are the emotions like?
Amazing. I woke up this morning in the Westin just I felt like I was playing in a game because you got a big job to bang the drum up there in front of all these faithful people that have seen absolute everything in this building. And just to be back, I mean, I was like, I can't wait to walk in between those white lines and let the stress go down and just get ready for the Texans.
And dealing with the elements like we do on this show. Question, you've been a part of some awesome moments in Chiefs Kingdom history. I'll never forget the moments we had together. Winning the game in Houston, the first playoff win in 21 years. The divisional playoff win here over the Colts, which had not happened in 24 years. Being a part of those moments and building the bricks that have paid off and then becoming a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, just amazing. To sum it all up really quick, it would be one of those things where Clark Hunt makes this massive decision, brings Big Red to town, and we win 9 straight games, and we all realize, like, wow, this is not a small market team. This is like a global team. And then you have plays like Dan Sorensen made in that Super Bowl run, you know, stopping that punt fake where they had the game. The game was kind of out of hand, and he stopped that. And then another play where he makes right on the goal line, knocks that ball loose. I mean, and those are guys that Dave Tobe and Veach and Andy and all of them say, like, hey, this guy's going to play an instrumental role on defense or on offense, but also on special teams. And, man, they nail it all the time. Draft, free agency, everything.
I want to ask you specifically about that game against the Texans, the 24-point comeback. What do you remember about that day?
Just looking up and going like, wow, like, 15 years, and like this is our biggest and brightest opportunity after watching, Patrick in his rookie year shred our number 1 defense in practice. Before the ball gets to an apex, you're like, oh, that's a touchdown. And then coming out and like it's starting like that. But I go back to that game over in Wembley Stadium. We're flying over, we're 1-5, and Andy Reid goes, hey, we're not going to lose again. We're going to right the ship, get it going in the right direction. And I remember everybody in that room looking around like we thought it was going to be like, hey, we're going to get rid of guys and like, this. He didn't panic at all, and we won that game, then 11 straight. And that's when I realized we have so many special guys, in that locker room. And when I speak about locker room, I've never been hugged like that just with a towel on after that Houston game. We've never seen white towels go down that fast, right? They had all those towels for about 7 seconds.
Yeah.
We didn't see the white towels again. That was the best hug I've ever gotten in a locker room, by the way.
A lot of oil rags.
There.
Right. Niall Davis right away.
Oh, man.
You survived in this league. You thrived in this league. You changed it because I was trying to get the league to change the stat to inside 20 to inside 10. You changed the game of football for punters. Now we see a commonplace. How did you do that? And your thought as you look back on a 15-year career plus.
Yeah, I mean, 15 winners, it's like Game of Thrones. Like 15 winners, it's tough to like weather some of those storms. But with you guys, how you guys do all the on-field stuff and like up in the box, I remember you made punts exciting. And I would listen to those broadcasts and be like, this is a deal. He's making punts sound fun. And you remember, usually you go 3 and out or something happens. People are like booing and they go up the stairs, they get a drink or beer, go to the bathroom. Everybody started kind of staying around for punts. And I got to the point where I was like, you got to be super aggressive. Try to pin it inside, because he starts talking about it's not inside the 20, it's inside the 10. And then you get to thinking like, all right, if I can pin him back, that offensive coordinator for the other team is going to slam that playbook. They're mad. And then as long as Spags was like, hey, I like the punter a lot. The defensive coordinator likes the punter. I'm in good shape.
You became a 12th defender.
Yeah, you guys
literally did.
You guys always made me sound good. I appreciate it.
No, you earned it.
Now, as a punter, you see things that we don't see. Curious for your thoughts on Matt Ariza this year in his first year with the Chiefs.
Doing a great job. And, I'm biased. I'm a lefty. And so it's been really fun seeing a lefty back in the building and doing he can just kill balls. And speaking of killing, he can go down and kill people.
Yeah, I have a linebacker.
Yeah, he's like a torpedo in there. I got to spend a little bit of time with him for the first time at practice a couple Fridays ago, and they let me come in and kick a couple balls and like talk to the guys and stuff. And that was, fun seeing, the few guys that are left from that 2019 season. And, he's a special kid, and he, with all the stuff that he's had going on, and just to kind of, right the ship and do everything he's doing. It's fun watching him in Chief Kingdom represent the red, baby.
The other punter's an interesting story because he was here for 4 years. What's going through Tommy Townsend's head? And I did have to see you in another uniform, and it was like my soul was hurting. I was pawing in the dirt. But here's Tommy Townsend punting for Houston after he punted here. What's going on with him, you think?
Yeah, and it's really fresh because he was punting here last year and 2 back-to-back Super Bowls, and he'd had a great career here, all pro, did all this stuff right, and it's going to be interesting in this building. He's back in the wind, back in the cold. The ball doesn't compress like it does, and Matt's been practicing every day with 17-mile-per-hour winds and freezing. So it's going to be tough. I mean, that's the thing. And you guys know, if we have 250 to 350 yards of offense and he has 200 yards of punt, that hidden field battle is going to be huge today. Huge. So that control around the 10-yard line, like you would say, is just crucial.
Last question, we'll get you out of here. But you mentioned earlier you're banging the drum today. Have you done this before?
I have never done
your
this
first
before.
time. How do you feel? Are you ready?
Go.
No, it's unreal. Like when they asked me about it, of course, I'm like, unbelievable. I get to come back to Kansas City after being back in my hometown for almost 2 years now, and this is just a special place. And it's a special building, and the fans make it special. There's not another place like it. There will never be a louder outdoor stadium here because the way they built this place, it traps all the all these Hall of Famers here. They trap the noise in this building. I'm convinced of it. And everything that it's done. It used to be Tony DePardo down there. Yep. The drum would be down here. Now you got it up kind of like front and center for everybody to see. And, this is like a religious – Bono would say this is like a religious experience, like for sure.
Well, you're a legend, man. So glad that you're doing it. Crowd's going to love seeing you. Chief Kingdom loves you. So enjoy today. Good luck up there, okay?
I love them back.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks,
Let you go.
Love
Regards
you guys.
to you and Christy and the kids.
You
Love
too.
you, brother.
Love you too. I'll see you soon.
Right.
He's just the best.
He's the best.
No player has worn a
best.
Chiefs uniform in more games than Dustin Colquitt, and it's just awesome. He's here, gets to feel that love from the fans. It's going to be pretty cool.
Let me just relate really quick. I know we're behind it, but we were at the bottom of the ocean. I saw him in the locker room in Denver, and we both had been here a long time, and we're like, we don't know if we can stay. And then the fact that he got to be here to see this flip and turn and has a Super Bowl ring, to me means everything.
Yeah.
And I just love it that he got the reward. Because guys like Derek Johnson and Tony Gonzalez did not, but he did.
There's a great shot from our camera crew after the Titans game, the AFC Championship game. There's confetti everywhere, and Dustin is crying on the field. And you think about the things that guy had to go through, some really tough seasons, to be there at the end of his career for, at the time, an AFC title and a Super Bowl championship soon after. It's pretty cool.
Way cool, and just so happy for him.
All right, we just got the inactives. That was good timing. Let's take a look at these. For the Chiefs, the big one we were looking at was Jalen Watson. And Jalen Watson is active here today. That's awesome news. We have not seen Jalen since week 7. Suffered kind of a lower leg injury, but Jalen Watson being back is a very big deal.
Yeah, it is. And what it does is strengthens your nickel and your dime, because now you can put Joshua Williams and Najee Johnson, and you can put guys in roles where it goes back to where it strengthens not only your base defense, because there'll be a rotation of guys, and they'll have him, pitch county and stuff, but it makes your nickel better, your dime better, makes your blitz package better. So this is a really good sign.
Awesome news. I think Jalen Watson back just in time. Looking at the Texans, so they had some big names on their injury report this week. None bigger than Joe Mixon at running back. He was questionable coming in. Mixon is active today, but worth watching because it seems like he hurt his ankle midweek in practice because he was a full participant early in the week, was limited middle of the week, didn't practice on Thursday. He had a high ankle sprain earlier in the year. I don't know if it's the same ankle. Regardless, if you have an ankle injury, it's really cold outside and you're a running back, something to watch.
He's also a pro, and he's a tough dude, and it's a divisional playoff round. Houston has history here too, Matt. They've never won in this round. Houston has never played in the AFC Championship game ever in their quarter century of old as a franchise. This is the biggest game in Houston's history, and Joe Mixon knows that. Now, he also accounted for 78% of the runs during the season. Only Kyron Williams of the Rams accounted for more runs than Joe Mixon to his team. So he means everything to these guys. So is he 100%? You mentioned the cold weather. Still, these guys have overcome injuries. You got to give them credit. They overcame the Tank Dell injury here, but they didn't have Nico Collins for 5 games. They didn't have Mixon for 3 games, and yet here they are.
Looks like they'll have Robert Woods active today, which I'm a little surprised about. He didn't practice all week long with a hip injury. It was questionable coming in. We'll see how effective Robert Woods can be. They're missing Tank Dell. We know that. He, of course, got hurt in that game against us a few weeks ago. He's on injured reserve. So we'll see if Robert Woods can kind of help fill that void. And then linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair is active today. He was questionable coming in with a knee injury. We didn't see him in Week 16 because he was suspended, but that's a big part of their defense that's back.
No, he's part of the hack and sack and strip and blitz package. He can cover some, but he's better as just a dominant physical defender. His hit on Trevor Lawrence is got the 3-game suspension. That's why he didn't play here. But he is a menace, and he's a force. He's like an extra linebacker, actually. So he's got to be accounted for today.
These guys are good. I mean, they're worthy of this moment. We saw what they did to the Chargers just last week, but what an incredible opportunity this is for the Chiefs. We've talked about this moment for months. Let's go out there and take it. For Mitch Holthus, I'm Matt McMullen. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Let's go get a victory.